Okay, we are here, ready to go live. Let me check all my technology. Okay, why am I not coming up with the whole thing? There we go. Love technology, love getting all this done. I just was, supposed to be on an hour ago, and technology just didn't let me get on. But I'm here and you're here, and thank you, and glad you're here to spend some time with me. I'm going to be talking about buying quality essential oils for your practice or for your spa or for your retail location, or hey, if it's just for you at home, whatever. But that's what I'm talking about, buying quality essential oils. This is a topic that I am asked about all of the time. The question that people will ask me is, who has the best essential oils? Or what is the best brand? If you Google that, 5 best essential oils, these lists will come up. 5, not necessarily 5 best essential oils, but the 5 best essential oil brands. I usually call it by brand. I don't, that term just doesn't resonate with me. Or 5 best essential oil companies. Okay. Somebody's marketing somewhere, doing something to sell oils. It doesn't tell you anything about the best essential oils. These websites that are promoting the 5 best brands, because usually what they're looking for is not the 5 best companies with the best essential oils or with high quality essential oils. What they're looking at is who sells the most. Those are always the 5 brands or 5 companies that are at the top of that list. They're the most popular companies. They're the ones that sell the most essential oils. Excuse me. And I'll just tell you right up front, best 5, could even go up to 10, are essential oil companies I would never buy essential oils from. I'm not judging them on whether they're real, adulterated, synthetic, or whether they're lying or not. There's other issues, generally because they need to produce a lot of oil, and selling that much oil diminishes quality to me. So that's my issue, okay? But I am going to recommend avoiding any of those companies that come up on the 5 best brand list, unless you start seeing these smaller companies that show up. Smaller for me is better. For you, I think it is better. But that's one of the issues here that we need to discuss, is what's convenient for you. Because when you're looking at the best quality essential oils, it's the best quality for you. How are you using them? What are you using them for? That determines what quality of essential oil you want to find. Now let's define quality. That's really important here, because, who has the best quality? Well, let me just say that right up front too. Who has the best essential oils? Nobody. Nobody has the best essential oils. There's good, there's bad, there's incredible, there's mediocre. There is no best essential oil. For those people who know about wine, it's about the vintner when it comes to wine. Nobody says, these are the best wines. This is the best wine company. This is the best wine company. No. And you don't even talk about brands usually. There's vintners and these. It's really about the guy, whoever it is. She's maybe an incredible vintner, and so gets put on that list of, ooh, really fine wine. But no one ever says best. Same with essential oils. There's no best essential oils. There's quality variations, okay? And that's what I want to talk about mostly here, is what quality do you want? Now, you want it for effectiveness. You want your oil for complexity, and that's what I talk about a lot. I'm going to show you what's called a gas chromatography, GC, and basically that's what tells you what the complexity of your oil is. So I'll describe how you can learn about complexity until you have a nose. When you have a nose for that kind of work, then you don't need any of the testing. You don't need anyone to tell you what the best are. All you need to do is pick up an oil and smell it, right? This is actually, I was gifted some frankincense samples, and, this is how I know. This is a real oil. I don't know where this came from. I don't know this company. I don't know anything about it, but I can smell it. And I can tell you that it's a pretty decent oil. I'm not impressed by its complexity, but in therapeutic use, no problem. Same with this one. It's another frankincense. Very different, but I'm smelling for complexity, meaning the chemical composition. I'll explain that with the GC again. So effectiveness, you want your oils to work. You want some complexity. You want to make sure that the molecular structure is there. There's many reasons for that, okay? There's natural balance, because some oils have compounds that when they're isolated, when they're alone, they can be irritants. And so the more complex the oil is, the more there's that natural balance where you don't get those irritants being irritating because they're in a soup of harmony with the other compounds. So complexity, effectiveness, intention. What's your intention for that oil? That doesn't always kind of resonate onto a quality level, but it matters what your intention is. So there is no best. The 5 best brands are not the 5 best brands. Brand isn't even something that qualifies as an essential oil anyway. When somebody asks me who the best brand is, it's like, I buy oils, I don't buy brands. And that's what you want to do. You want to buy essential oils. You're not buying the brand. The company, you want to trust who you're buying from, but you're not buying the brand. You're buying the essential oil. Now, marketing terms. Some of the reasons why these 5 companies that sell a lot of oil are on the best list, because they're good at marketing. And marketing, again, is not essential oils. The essential oils are not the brand. They're not the marketing. And you need to understand what the marketing terms are trying to sell you. And they're not really trying to sell you a quality essential oil. They're selling you an idea of a quality essential oil. I think the term that is most likely the one that really falls apart so easily is therapeutic grade. What does that mean? I'll use that term sometimes when I'm talking to someone who has no idea about essential oils, because when I say therapeutic grade, it's going to resonate and go, okay, therapeutic, yeah, that's what I'm doing this for. It's for therapy, so therapeutic, that's a good thing. Grade, yeah, grading systems are good. And so if it's got this therapeutic grade, then it must be an oil that's going to work for me on a therapeutic level, and it's going to heal me or whatever I'm using the oil for. Yeah, sounds good, doesn't it? Here's the thing about therapeutic grade is it's meaningless as a term to identify a quality oil. One of the main reasons, and this is the best story, there is a synthetic sandalwood. And that synthetic was made because, especially I think it was around the 1970s or a little later, the Indian government was seeing that the sandalwood was going to be extinct if they didn't control it. And so they stopped harvesting and exporting and everything else. And so for an essential oil, they hired these companies to put together an essential oil, or an oil that would mimic the essential oil as best possible. So the synthetic contains a compound called sandalore, which mimics the main compound in sandalwood, which is santalol. And sandalore, there's actually a study looking at this synthetic compound called sandalore and how it heals wounds. So the study, it's a good study. It was real. It shows that the reason physiologically why sandalore, the synthetic, can heal the wound. You know what that means? That means synthetic sandalwood is therapeutic grade. So if I'm telling you my oils are therapeutic grade, doesn't that mean that my oils could be synthetic? Yeah. Now I'm going to talk about adulteration. Well, I'll talk about it now. Adulteration is you do not want it. You do not want adulterated oil. So you do not want synthetics, even though they can be therapeutic grade. That's not the therapy you're looking for. You want complexity. Synthetics don't have that. Adulterated oils. Adulterated oils it's when, if I distill some oil, and I don't like to use me, somebody distills essential oil, and say it's lavender. And the lavender, they get 10 liters, but they want to sell 20 liters because they need some money. How do they sell 20 liters if they only have 10 liters? Well, you get some of the natural compounds, the compounds that naturally occur in the lavender, and you start pouring them in. And so this is what adulterated oils are. Sometimes they're with synthetics. In fact, a lot of times, like rose, you can really smell synthetic rose, though. And so the adulterants can be synthetic, but let's talk about it from the natural isolate. So lavender contains the linalool acetate, linalool, and then a handful of other compounds. So if I'm a master adulterator, no, not me again, the other guy, the guy doing this. If they're a master adulterator, they know how to take these natural compounds and pour it in where it can, still smell like lavender, but now they've gone from having 10 liters to having 20 liters. They adulterated their oil. And so adulterants are additives to your essential oil. You do not want those. Why am I talking adulterants if I'm talking the topic of therapeutic grade? I know why. The natural adulterant is a compound that occurs in the essential oil. When you look at studies, you'll see that they may isolate, like lavender, isolate the linalool acetate or the linalool compounds, isolate those individual molecules, and see what they do on their own to see if, in these research studies, they like to find which is the active compound. Now, just so you know, there is no active compound in essential oils. They are all active, and as a combination in their complexity, that's what's active in your essential oil. It's the whole oil. So adulterants are looked at, or not adulterants, but these isolated compounds are looked at for their therapeutic ability, and they do have it. So linalool acetate can be calming to the nervous system, which is what lavender does. So the active, according to a study, may be, well, linalool acetate does, this and this and this on a physiological level, it becomes calming. All right, so now this guy has adulterated his essential oil of lavender, pours all this stuff into it, and that goes into the marketplace. Those natural compounds are still going to have therapeutic activity, meaning that your adulterated oil can be therapeutic grade. So I'm telling you all this just to show you how in the marketplace they can use terminology that is just so off base for accuracy as far as being an accurate term. It's not. Therapeutic grade is meaningless. If a company's trying to sell you on their therapeutic grade essential oil, walk the other way, because it's just, it's not a truth. Now, the other thing is pure essential oil. I have 100% pure essential oil. I have seen labels on completely synthetic oils that says 100% pure essential oil. The reason they can do that, the term essential oil is not regulated. So anything can be an essential oil. And you see that a lot. These air fresheners that you plug in, they'll say they have essential oils in. No, they do not. And I know that for a fact because I know what real oil smells like, and I know what synthetic smells like, and that's not it. This is how crazy it can get. 100% pure essential oil. I was in Morocco, and I was in the city where the roses grow. They just had, the week before I got there, a rose festival. All the blossoms were out. And went into this it turned out to be a touristy thing. There's a whole nother story that goes along with this, but we went through a beautiful rose garden, smelled the roses, and we come out and there was what was supposed to be a distillation, but it wasn't. Where distillation is how you get the essential oil out of the plant. And it was a kind of a mock, here's what distillation looks like kind of a situation. And you go from that, and then you go into their store. In this store, at the rose garden, where they're supposed to get pure rose essential oil, I did not smell a real essential oil. It was all synthetic. Labeled 100% pure rose essential oil, but they were all synthetic. Crazy. This is the issue that's out there. This is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with words that are meaningless. So in the marketing, you need to get past the marketing. You need to be able to figure out what qualifies as a quality essential oil. So I want to go through some of that. Now, GC is another thing that you will see a lot of suppliers do. And what the GC is gas chromatography. Gas chromatography is a scientific evaluation of the chemical composition of an essential oil. I actually have one I want to show you. So if your supplier says we GC our oils, that's a good thing. I'll show you the chart in a minute. That's a good thing because it means that they care about their oils, where they're getting their oils from. Now, for me, I don't require GC analysis for my oils because I know who I'm getting them from. When I don't get them directly from the producer, I know the people that I'm buying from do not ever have any, even inferior quality oils, never mind adulterated or synthetic. And you do find, when I talk inferior, I'm talking that word complexity again, the structure of the oil. And a GC will tell you whether you have a good complexity in your essential oil. So I don't need to do that because even when I'm buying from the producer, direct from the producer, I know the guy. So I know I'm buying an oil that is not adulterated. And plus I can smell it because I have a seasoned nose. I know. Don't try and fool me, even though I can't be fooled, but don't try anyway. Producer and the supplier who you're buying from, if they have a GC, that's a good thing. But, if they're trying to sell you that their oils are quality because they have a GC analysis, tell them to show you the chart. This is a GC. Can you read this? Look at this and tell me, why is this a quality essential oil? I'm looking at the GC. Tell me why this GC analysis is telling you as a consumer that this is a quality essential oil. I mean, I can't do it. I can't look at this and tell you whether it's quality. This is a peppermint distillation. And what the GC is they run the oil through a chamber. In the chamber, the oil evaporates. And then once it evaporates, each compound is going to evaporate and show up as one of these peaks. Or if you see some of the lower ones, that means the compound is at a lower concentration. These higher ones are at a higher concentration. Now, this is peppermint. Generally, we think of peppermint as the menthol. But when I look at this, I'm seeing the oxide, and then I'm seeing the menthone, which is another compound that gives peppermint its kind of overall fragrance. And then next to that, almost at the same amount, a little bit higher, is menthol. That when we identify peppermint, we mostly identify peppermint from the menthol. But this is showing that there's more complexity going on in this oil. Now, I don't remember where I got this chart from. It might have been someone sent it to me with a sample of peppermint. But I didn't buy the oil. Not that I wouldn't. I'm looking at this, I'm going, oh, okay, it doesn't look adulterated. It has a high menthone content, which is not something that people would adulterate the oil. Mostly they're going to, put more menthol in there. So this GC is supposed to define for you a quality essential oil. It doesn't. Even, the way these things work, there's a sample chart that's in the available data that you can get. And you compare your oil to that chart. Now the chart that's a sample is supposed to say, this is what peppermint should look like, or this is what lavender is supposed to look like. And then you have yours, and if you don't know anything about what oils are supposed to be, you might look at your oil chart and compare it to that sample chart and go, oh, it's not the same. It has less menthol and more this and more that. It must be adulterated or something must be wrong. No, I think these sample charts are a guide, but I also do think it leaves it open for adulteration, because lavender has 35 to 42% range of linalool acetate, and then about the same of linalool. Now, depending on where that oil is grown and harvested and distilled, it's going to have variation in that amount. And so if you buy an oil and it has almost precisely the right amount that's in that sample chart, not that you're ever going to see the sample chart, but this is how easily people can be fooled. Somebody that's really good at adulteration can take the natural compounds, put them in that lavender, and get the quantity up to that linalool acetate, linalool content that's in the sample. Now, where you can tell or detect for adulteration in that case is like in this chart here, You're seeing all those lower amounts, right? And there's a list of all the compounds, the numbers and what they are over to the side. You do get a finished chart where you get all the listing of all the compounds with the amount of percentage that it's in that oil. And I use that to, when I get a chart, I'm not doing it to see if my oil is adulterated. I'm doing it so I can look at the complexity of the oil, and that helps guide me on how I can use that oil. Right. So if you see those lower ones, now, if you add more of, in this chart, it's menthol oxide, menthone. If you add more of that, you're going to decrease the amount of those other elements, including trace elements. So that's the way somebody who really knows how to analyze these things will look at whether that oil's been adulterated, whether it's synthetic. Synthetics are easy to figure out, but the adulteration, the adulterators have gotten pretty good at it. So it's a real challenge. So again, if somebody's selling you that they have GC analysis, question them on it. Why does that make that a good essential oil? Why are you telling me you have quality oils and showing me this chart? How does that chart tell me that your essential oil is a quality oil? One of the things that's happening out there, it's being required by the consumer. I get that question a lot. Do you have GC analysis on your oils? Sure. I actually do get some of the GC charts because people are asking for them now. I don't use them for myself unless, like what I just said, I use it to figure out what's in that oil for the complexity and where I can use it where I hadn't thought about using it before. That's the way you use it. But for the consumer, it's telling the consumer that, okay, you guys are making the effort to prove to me that you have real oils. It doesn't mean they have quality oil. It just means they're making the effort. So the good marketing people are using it as a marketing tool. You want to go to the people you can trust who are using that to analyze their oil so they can tell you what that batch of oil you bought contains. And if you go to some of the websites where the people who really know what they're doing are doing it, and they have batch numbers on their, each batch has its own chart. You can go through those charts and see the variation. That's what you want to see. If you see similarities that are too close to each other, that's a good indication it's adulterated oils. Now, I'm talking about the 5 big brands, and I won't use them. And here's one of the reasons why. I like artisan distilled oils. Now, the big brand people with the good marketing skills will sell you that they have artisan distilled oils. But what does that mean? Wine analogy again. When you have a really beautifully vinted Bordeaux, there are only so many cases that are released into the marketplace. So you better buy it now because it's going to be gone. That's artisan. If you have an artisan distilled essential oil, it's going to be the same thing. There's a limited supply. These guys can only produce so much. And so industrialized oils is what I like to call them, or industrial oils, with these guys who are buying tons of oil, right? They're selling to millions of people. They're not getting artisan distilled oils. They need to be getting their oils from people who are mass producing on a very large scale. Or with some of these companies, they may be combining oils from different resources. Now, I don't know this for sure. I'm teaching you how to define quality. And these are the things that you want to look at. These are the things that are going to help you understand quality, okay? I am not talking about any specific oil company here, all right? I am teaching you how I analyze to find quality oils, all right? So, I'm not judging anybody because, essential oils are essential oils. Industrialized oils, that mass quantity, they're going to do something. They're going to be therapeutic. I'm just, I'm what you call an essential oil geek. I want to make sure I get that really intense complexity. Okay. Does it make a difference therapeutically? If you're a seasoned aromatherapist, you will notice a difference. But, if you're doing this and for spa and for aesthetics, in treatment, it's not necessary that you're using the most incredible essential oils. Excuse me. What really matters is when you're working individually and you really need all those nuances. But that's from experience when you're going to get to that. So artisan versus industrial, I prefer small producers, and those stories on those big companies' websites aren't fooling me because they're selling way too much oil. Now, what matters to you is what I was just starting to do when I was talking about in aesthetics and massage and everything else. You don't need to buy the most expensive oils. You don't need to buy the oils that I would be selecting, because your therapeutic work is a little different than my therapeutic work. I'm, like I said, I'm an essential oil geek. I want just that finest complexity I could possibly get in all of my products when I do it. If that's your goal, you really need to start researching and understanding and learning about how to select oils. If what you want is the best results you could possibly get, you're not needing these intensely complex oils coming from small producers, right? That's very expensive. You can get, and even the word industrial, the industrial, I'm just talking, it's mass quantity. They're producing a lot of oil. And for me, you lose something in that, but you're not losing all the therapy. You're still getting a therapeutic oil that will work for what you're doing. So it's really up to you what you want to use, how much money you want to spend on your essential oils. Okay, because essential oils from artisan small producers is going to be more expensive because these people aren't producing that much. And in order for them to make a living, they need to put their price at the work or for the value of what they're producing. Okay. So again, it's not necessary. It's to me, but it's not necessary. Okay. Now, getting to know your supplier. This is the only way right now that you are going to be able to buy essential oils, buy quality essential oils, is to get to know who you're buying from. Ask all these questions that I'm introducing you to here. Understand, what the GC and the relevance of the GC is. Understand what therapeutic grade means. Understand all of these nuances, all of these little tricks and things that you want to get to. It becomes a learning experience selecting essential oils. It's part of your job on selecting quality oils. I just have to tell this story. I was hired by a spa to do some chakra blends, and so I did all of the chakra blends. And then they asked me our supplier stopped selling and went out of business, and so we need a new supplier for lavender. How much is the one you have? And I knew that they didn't want real expensive oil, so I was looking around to find the best quality I could find for a less expensive oil. And I told her, I think she wanted like 4 ounces. And I said, well, it's going to be, about $120. And she was freaking out, going, what? I was paying $25. And then I wanted to look up so I could show her what that means. And everything I found for $25, there were some that said, lavender mimicking or something, referring to, no, this isn't lavender. This is our created lavender from, our own little mixture. It's not really lavender. And that's what you get for $25 for 4 ounces. So when you're seeing these things, this is what you want to understand. Okay. When you're doing your essential oils, it's such a challenge to find quality oils. Not like when I first started. When I first started, everything in the essential oil market was coming from the perfume industry. There were only a handful of people selling real oils, and these people became my very best friends. And that's why I know what I know, because I learned it from when the industry was still blossoming to become an aromatherapy industry with quality oils. There are many quality sellers out there. They are out there, okay? And so you don't need to go to these big companies. You don't need to go to these, 5 best brands, and you don't need to go to the ones that are selling a lot of oil. Find the guys that are, you can be more intimate and talk to people who really know where their oils came from, when they're talking. Now, some of the big brands do a good story that way because they learned from a lot of the same people I did. And so, they know what the story to tell is. So you got to get to beyond what the story is and what is the truth. And I know it's a challenge. I'm out here to help you guys. If you want to contact me, I do 30-minute free consultations. Just, either email me directly or go on my website. thejimharrison.com is my website. I can help guide you. Now, I do sell essential oils. It's not my business, but my students, in a way, kind of force me into it. I say, get this oil over there, get that oil over there. I say, well, can't you just bring it in and sell it to us? And so, okay. I don't have enough online right now. So, I shouldn't say that, but I don't have my complete listing on there. But I do have some oils, but that's not, I don't want to sell you oils unless you want to buy them from me. Then that's fine. Let me see if I have anything else going on here. Any comments? Nope, we're good. So anyway, that's my story. I'm going to stick to it just like I always do. And I hope you got some value out of this. Again, contact me if you'd like more information. I consult on many levels, formulation levels. I can help guide you on how to use essential oils. I have my new holistic essential oil triad. It's a new system on how to use essential oils. So I have a lot that I can teach you myself, but I really want you to go out and explore from all these people out there. Everybody has a different story. Some of them don't listen to, and you're going to know who those people are. And there are some really, incredibly good essential oil and aromatherapy people in the market. I'm just one of them. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I'll see you on my next class.